Oh, well, look there. You snuck in on me again. I'm just getting the stuff for what we're making today. My name is Steve Smith, and I am a middle school teacher. I teach 8th grade English. My students call me Mr. Steve, so welcome to Mr. Steve's Kitchen. Today, by special request, I was asked to make a keto-friendly Salisbury steak. We're going to do a mushroom gravy with that. And so, to do the Salisbury steak, you need a pound of ground beef. We've got about 1/3 of a cup of almond flour. We're using this instead of breadcrumbs. And then 1/4 of an onion that's finely chopped. About a tablespoon of finely chopped parsley. And then here we have Worcestershire sauce, and that is about 1/2 of a tablespoon. And then this is 1/4 of a cup of beef broth, and then we're gonna need just a little bit of garlic powder, salt, and pepper. So to start, we're just gonna combine everything and then make some patties and get that in the oven, and then we'll work on the gravy. So first things first, we have to make sure that we wash our hands, so I'm gonna do that right quick. All right, hands are washed. I had to wash them because we're going in the meat. So I'm gonna start with the almond flour, and we're just gonna put everything in. The onions, got our parsley, and then Worcestershire sauce, and then this is our beef broth. And we're gonna do about 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. And then kosher salt, we're gonna do about 1/2 of a teaspoon, if I can get it to come out. All right, so that is that, and now we just go in and mix it all up. So once you get it all incorporated, stop. Don't over mix it, because what's gonna happen if you over mix it is you're gonna create a really tough piece of meat. Like if you over mix your cornbread, your meatloaf. If you over mix meatloaf, it'll be tough and dry. So you just want it to come together. So all the ingredients are in there. It's still a little bit crumbly, but we're just gonna press it into about 3 patties. My oven is at 375. We're gonna bake these. So I'm just gonna make 3 equal patties. And you want them about 1 inch thick. So they should look about like that, about 1 inch thick. So just put that right there. We'll do 3 of these. Now, because it is Salisbury steak, it's not meatloaf, we're not adding an egg as a binder. The almond flour will kind of help with the other liquids that are in there. It will help to kind of get this all to come together. And we're baking it, we're not frying it, so it's not gonna like crumble in the pan or anything. But you will notice that it's gonna be a little bit more crumbly. I almost said crumblier. I am an English teacher. So you want it to be, like I said, about 1 inch thick, and don't worry about the crumbly sensation that you might get, because as it cooks, it'll solidify. And we've got our last one here. This one's gonna be a little bit, actually I'm gonna add some to the center one here. Just press down a little bit. There we go. Now they're all even. All right, this one's going on. And then once this gets in there, that one's a little bit bigger than the other ones, but that's all right. I'll just have a big one for dinner. Okay, now you can see my pan. I have it lined with parchment paper. The reason I have that is because there is a rack underneath here. I've got a rack under here. I don't want the burgers to stick to the rack, but I do want air circulating underneath. So I said burgers, I meant steaks. So we're gonna pop this in the oven, 375 for about 18 minutes. Just let that get started. And then we're gonna move on to our gravy. So let me get the stuff for that and I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I am getting ready to do our gravy. We're doing a mushroom gravy for our Salisbury steak today. I'm just getting some, this is 1 clove of garlic that is finely chopped. or minced, if you will. I've got a heated pan going here. To that pan, I'm going to add all of these ingredients one step at a time. So I've got, this is about 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of bacon grease. Please strain and save your bacon grease. It's so full of flavor, and it's like a free fat after you have used the bacon. I've got 2 cups of button mushrooms, half of an onion that's been chopped. That's about a cup of sliced onions, rather, not chopped. This is about a half of a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I've got half a cup of beef broth, a 1/4 cup of cream, and then salt and pepper to taste. So we're going to start by adding our fats. So the butter goes in, pan is already hot. I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of bacon fat. Yummy, yummy. That might just deplete my supply. There's a little bit left in there. I'll get some more tomorrow with breakfast, right? That's the way you have to look at that. All right, because this is slimy with fat, I'm gonna toss it in the sink. Okay, now we've got all that going. This pan is super hot, as you can tell now. So in this pan, I'm going to add our onions and get those cooking up. So I'm just breaking them up a little bit so they'll all start to cook. Turning the heat up to about medium. And I'm going to let these kind of start to caramelize. And then once they start to caramelize, we will add our mushrooms. So I'll see you in a moment. All right, so it looks like our onions are beginning to caramelize. They are turning kind of translucent. So this is the step where we want to add our mushrooms. So I'm going to add 2 cups of mushrooms. Just kind of stir that all together. Now at this point, we can add some of our spices, because we're going to have some flavor in there, right? So we're going to add a heavy pinch of salt, because mushrooms and onions love salt. They love salt. And you don't have to, they absorb the salt. So I did 3 pinches of salt because they can take it. And in fact, they might need a little more later. We'll taste it. And then with black pepper, I'm going to add a hefty pinch of black pepper. So now that we've seasoned those, we're going to just let those come together a little bit. Give them a nice stir. And when these mushrooms start to cook a little more and get tender, we'll come back and we'll add our liquids and make our gravy. So I'll see you in a second. All right, so our mushrooms and onions have cooked down considerably. At this point, I'm going to add this garlic that I chopped up. So I've got a clove of garlic I'm just going to sprinkle throughout. I didn't add it in the beginning because I do not want it to burn. And so just adding it in there now, and then I'll give that a little stir. Let that cook for just a second. And then at this point, I'm going to start adding the rest of it. So I'm going to throw in the Worcestershire sauce. Ooh, I like that. And then the beef broth. The cream we're going to add in a little bit later because that's going to be our thickening agent. But we want everything to, all these flavors to kind of marry together before we add in the cream. So we're going to let this simmer for about 3 minutes and then we'll add the cream. So I'll see you in 3 minutes. All right, it is time to add the cream, but before we do, I'm going to taste it a little bit to see if we need any more salt or pepper. So I'm just going to get a little taste of it. That needs nothing. That is so delicious. Okay, so now I'm going to add this cream. I want it to be thick. So after we add it, I'm going to stir everything up and then I'm just going to let it simmer for about 4 minutes. That will thicken everything up and then we'll be able to use this as our gravy for our Salisbury steak. So we'll pull that out here in just a minute. And we will just let this cook while we wait. All right, welcome back. Our gravy is finished. It has been just over 20 minutes. My oven runs a little bit slow sometimes, so it's been just over 20 minutes. I'm gonna pull out our Salisbury steak. Ooh, that looks so good. right, just pop that right there. Try not to drop it. All right, so Salisbury steak right there, and then we will take some of the gravy. Oh, it's right here. A little bit of this gravy, put over the top of it. Just like that. And doesn't that look delicious? You know what? Let me come closer. How does that look for a nice, healthy, keto-friendly meal? So, in addition to that, I heated up some vegetables that I had the other day, and I also have a little salad. So these vegetables, I'm just going to, don't burn my hand, toss that on the plate, just like that. Put that back there. And we have dinner. I just gotta take some pictures and post it. If you enjoyed this, leave me some comments. Let me know how you thought it. Let me know what you thought about it. And give it a shot. It's keto, which means that I guess it's healthy. It has lots of fat in it, which is supposed to be good. So try it, enjoy it, subscribe, like it, do all the things that you need to do to let me know that you care. And you all have a great evening. See you soon.